Hey y'all, I'm back. Um, yeah, I've made up several attempts to do this video. I've attempted to write notes, but like it's not coming together the way I want, and I don't know. So I'm trying again. You could hear Paw Patrol going in the background. Little Miss is having a snack. I'm trying to see how long she can stay out my way. We don't know how that goes. But yeah, I said I'd talk about closure. Um, I saw a meme that said that it's a scam. Closure is a scam. Except that they didn't move on. And I think that can apply to a lot of situations. But I also think that it comes back to who you are, the way you think, and the way you process things. And sometimes we need help processing things, which is why we have counselors, therapists, friends, and all that. So I, I showed it to a friend. She was like, no, it's just one of those things. But it had me thinking like, is closure that serious? Is it not that serious? Is it a must? Is it what is it? Why is it? And what I can come up with personally is my ex-husband. I was married. I stayed with him for 10 years, 11. Can't count. Met him in '01 and was done by 2013. That's 12. No, well, it was October. So that's, yeah, it's 11 years. So, what made me stay wasn't just at one point he was the sole breadwinner and I couldn't go nowhere. Um, and then I was working, but my salary couldn't take care of me and kids because I was working on other bills. It was because I had my own issues. I comfort eat like a beast. Like growing up, my mommy fought. She tried hard, and it was like, we can do it like this and we can do it like that because at a certain age she was worried about my weight, and when I got into teenagehood I didn't like it. But there's so many factors of that because there wasn't the comprehension that I wasn't built to be stick thin like other people, but then I still was dissatisfied with where I was at. So food had been an ongoing struggle for some time, and I comforted when my dad died. Even when when he was sick, it was, oh, I gotta go to the hospital. We'll get something out of the shop because we had a convenience store. Just grab something out of the shop for a snack after dinner, or you could have this or you could have that until I come back. And I realized that was ingrained in me that when I had these feelings I wanted to talk about, I was worried about my daddy. I was stressed out about it, but I had learned to literally eat my feelings, and it carries on into adulthood. And this is the reason, one of the core reasons I stayed with my ex-husband. He had issues. There were things in counseling that would come up, and I'd be like I don't want to be like, but I'm like, well, let's talk about it. Express how you feel about it, and then figure out how we can move on from it. But we would make that progress, and then he'd just pick it all back up, and I couldn't handle his crap and my crap, and then two small children. We buried our first daughter. I got myself in awesome shape, had my son, was trying to get back into shape, doing all these things, looking into why my eating was the way it was. My mom was vegetarian, so I crossed over to that, and came off it, and I went back to it. Was raising my son with a vegetarian diet. He was having issues with it. His dad was having issues with it. I didn't care, but it was like every time I tried to line stuff up, his stuff kept knocking my stuff down. And I know it's all about love and unconditional love and trying to make things work. And it was a marriage and it was a commitment, and his addictions are a disease, and I have my own issues. So who am I to be like, oh, well, but it became too much things on my plate. If I could sit down and look at why I was doing what I was doing and trying to find a way to deal with it, and I'm here supporting you, there's no way in the world I could walk you to the river because we both thirsty. I drink in and you just standing there like, I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty. And I'm like, well, here we are. Like, you want to take a drink? You want me to drink it for you too? Well, if I drink it for you too, then what I bring you to the river for? So it just became one big ball of confusion for me, and I didn't know if I was coming, going upside down, who I was, and I wanted my children to have some sense of stability. So it was like this ain't gonna work, and I watched the lack of closure basically be used as something for him to continue to be self-destructive. The only difference between us was I was fighting against these habits, and he just seemed to be triggered, hairline trigger. Oh, we had an argument. I ain't like how you talk to me. Gone. He just gone on binges. Can't find him. Gotta call the churn godfather. Gotta call this one. Gotta ask this one. Disappear in mommy car. Disappear in our car. Selling stuff with the house. And it was like, the difference is, I understand I have a problem, but I'm not destroying other people's lives with it. And I understand that I will have to work on my issue for the rest of my life. But at what point do you put on your big boy jockeys and be like, I have these kids, and even if I don't do it for me right away, let me do it for them. And that has been my crazy cycle of trying to get in order. Like, these kids need me, because it's always been, let me do this because kids need me, and then in the next breath it's like, these children stressing me out, this is my only treat, I can't have no me time, so let me grab this chocolate, let me grab these chips, let me grab this, let me grab that. And being cognizant of that, I guess just makes a difference. And then I needed support, and I'm like, I support you is rehab every other year, jail in between, and then we doing counseling, and it's like spinning tires, and it's getting scary because now weird people showing up to the house. So this lack of closure causing some severe issues. So the meme says closure is a scam. I don't know. I think it's trying to tell you to take your power. Hold that power that you have, because you can't control people. You can't make them do something or respond a certain way or feel a certain way. It sits with you. So these children stressing me out, I can go grab something. Well, in the grand scheme of things, how is that helping me? So for me, I was trying to tell him, you have this issue with this person. This person died before you could resolve it. You have this issue with this next person. You don't talk to them. So how are you going to sit and be like, I can't resolve this because this person is gone, so what do I do? And that's what happened with me. The last 2 years have been some intense looking back and working on some things that I didn't realize were bothering me. I couldn't get to the root of why I was triggered to comfort eat, because I understood the comforting. So the thing is, you replace that action with something else. And there were days it's been like, I replace it with, no, I don't have time or energy for that. But there were other things too, because it comes back to self-perception and who you think you are and what you think you deserve. So if you don't think you deserve to be better, then you won't be better. And I think he probably felt like he didn't deserve to be better. I struggle with that constantly all the time. It's not that I don't think I deserve it. It's just that I always get so busy being something for everybody else that I always say I can get to myself later, and putting myself first feels weird. So there's my closure on that situation, and I'm working on it. So to say closure is overrated, I'm not sure it's a fair statement. Now, ways that we can get closure when it's a situation involving other people and it's a nagging feeling that we feel just won't go away, and it's like, but I need to know, I have to know. The only thing I could say is to write a letter. I fought with closure after my mom died. She walked out the house. Kira, I can't use the phone. Okay. I doing the evening routine, dealing with the kids, cooking, they back and forth to their daddy. It's just a regular evening. And my godmother knocks on the door. I need you to come now. I don't know. You need to come now. Go over there, and she's sitting on the phone yelling in pain. Like for the longest, trying to figure out where she was hurting, because she just was like, ah, ah, like, and I'm like trying to stay calm, and you know, got her to the hospital. That was a Wednesday. Friday she was gone. She had never woken up. So I never got, like, the last thing I did say to her was, Mommy, I love you, at the hospital, because she didn't know I was still there waiting for her to be seen. And I saw her. They let me back in the back, and I was like, Mommy, I come to let you know I going home because Charles don't have to go to work. And we got there at 9, and this was like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I just going back in the back to tell her I go, and she's like, I thought you was going. I was like, no, I wasn't gonna leave until someone saw you. She was like, go home so he could go to work, because he went to work for like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, so it's 2 o'clock, and he would soon have to get up to get ready, and there was no one there to grab the kids. And I told her, I was like, okay, and she's like, I don't know why you bring me here. And that still is prick me. And I'm like, Mommy, I supposed to leave you home in whatever condition you was in and not know what's wrong with you. And then people would have been like, oh, you should have taken it. And then my mind would have been like, oh, I should have make you. Mommy. So she didn't really say nothing. So I was like, anyhow, Mommy, I have to go because the security coming back. They say, Miss, I tell you only 5 minutes. So I said, Mommy, I love you. And she's like, here, I love you too. At least that was present. At least that was there. But up until last year, certain things bothered me, bugged me, annoyed me, nagged me. And I would feel these big gaps, like in my soul, from her absence. And I started writing letters. And I know I read something that you could get the closure by writing letters. And I didn't know what to do with them after I wrote them. And I came across where it said you could burn them. And it would sort of seal it off, for want of a better way to describe it. So I sat down, I wrote her a long, detailed letter, and then I realized, well, Daddy's absence was bothering me too. And Daddy been gone from 1992. So I've been without him longer than I've been with him, and my memories of him are not as clear. So I completely understand my children, where one of them says she doesn't remember her dad. Well, how could she? She was 3, 4 years old when I finally decided to sing work. Right, she was 5 last time she saw him. Her memories aren't clear. I was 11. Mine are 100% clear. But I wrote him a long letter letting him know what happened while I was growing up. Things I went through, how I handled things, my thought process, and how it's so different now. And I told him about the kids. And I don't know, it's just like a big release doing that. And that's the only thing I feel like I've done that I could recommend if you really need closure, whether the person is here or not. If it's a situation where you're not going to talk to them, you're not in contact with them, then write. And if you're one of those people where writing isn't your thing, then record a long voice note on WhatsApp. Record a video. Do something to get it out. Even if you go into therapy or if you're in counseling, it's not the same as when you let it flow, because in counseling you're always going to hold back to a certain degree, or you're going to have the counselor's response or what they're saying, and it's not going to be as pure. Another friend of mine mentioned that there's like, I forgot what she calls it, almost like role playing, where I think you have a conversation and you say something and then you respond as what you respond as the other person, and that I haven't tried it. I thought about it and it seems to make a lot of sense. Like, so if you're not the writing kind of person, it's basically like talking to yourself, and they tell you, don't talk to yourself if you answer back crazy. Well, yeah, no. If you be like, well, today I was making something and I didn't like how it turned out, it was ugly. Then you'd be like, well, I wonder what mommy would have said. But mommy would have been like, well, how could you have fixed it instead of throwing it away? That sort of thing. So go get the wife to wipe her hands. So yeah, it isn't. I was along the lines of thinking it was overrated. I was thinking, yeah, I got the power to be like, you know, control what I can control. So do I really need closure? Well, some people feel that they do, and that's not an invalid feeling. And some people feel like they can manage it, and that's not an invalid feeling either. So, so it's like it comes back to knowing who you are, learning who you are, understanding who you are, and understanding your options, and understanding like what you're willing to let go and what you're willing to do to get closure in a different way. It doesn't have to look the way you think it does. My closure for the last relationship I was in that was totally emotionally and psychologically abusive, my closure comes through the man that I'm with now. It comes through every time he does something that makes me feel so absolutely loved, that makes me feel like a person. When he shows how much he respects me, I got my closure in that. I got my closure in realizing that I wasn't a problem to the degree that I may have thought that I was. Because I think everybody is a problem to a certain degree to everybody in a way when you look back at it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I got my closure. This, you knocked the phone, baby. I get my closure in the way he goes above and beyond to do things for me, and he appreciates everything I do, no matter how big or small. And that's where I get my closure. That's where I get the understanding that I'm not asking why didn't the last person I was with be what I needed him to be. Maybe he wasn't supposed to. Maybe he was supposed to teach me some lessons and then go about his business. So I learned some lessons and he bought his business. So yeah, you have to seek your closure in unconventional ways. It isn't always a conversation to be like, hey, babe, you really hurt me. I want to know why you do that or why you have to care. No, it could be the letter. It could be understanding that whatever part you thought you played in it, you didn't play in it. And it might come through understanding the way someone else talks to you and treats you to really process that. So yeah, I hope all of that made sense. I think I finally hit the nail on the head on what I wanted to say and how I wanted to get it out, because the last couple of videos were super rambly and like pushing on 30 minutes, and I haven't gotten to the point of what I wanted to say. So yeah, see you guys in the next one. And in the comments, please drop an idea for the next video. Yeah, so I can make some notes and see where I'll go. I'll take it. You have to make that noise right there like that. What's that? Say hi. Yeah, so anyway, see you guys in the next one.